Doug Karsh, mgoblue.com, joined by the head coach of the Wolverines, Red Berenson. Michigan off this weekend to play out of conference at New Hampshire. But let's start with last weekend. You sweep your opening weekend of CCHA play against Bowling Green. Your thoughts?
Hard-fought games, Doug, playing on the road. We got a lead in both games, which was important. No, I'll take that back. On Friday night, they got the lead, and then we came back and carried the play for the most part during the game. We had a 3-1 lead, and that held up until an empty net goal by Carl Hagelin. But I thought what was important in the game was that we came back. We got 2 goals, important goals by different players, obviously. Louis Caparuso had a strong weekend for us. I thought our young players played well. Johnny Merrill looked really good, and Hunwick was solid in goal. Our penalty killing had to be the difference in the game on Friday, and then again on Saturday. We had 2 penalties. You know, you and I might think they were marginal calls, but they turned out to be hitting from behind, and you lose that player the rest of the game, and those are tough calls. But nevertheless, our team played with a lot of adversity, and we got the job done. So you win 2 games on the road back-to-back. That's a good way to start the year.
Let's talk about your highly skilled forwards. Everybody's going to focus this year on Caparuso, Rust, and Hagelin. Evaluate them in the early season.
Well, Louis off to a great start. I think he had 6 points in the first 2 games on the road, so good for him. And he's a scorer, but he also made some good plays. David Wahlberg was a force in those games, and that takes some of the pressure off Louis. He had 2 breakaway goals and set up by Louis. And so when you get that line going the way they're going, Luke Glendenning is a big part of that line. They had a good weekend. Rust, as you know, got hurt in the second game early, so we had to play without him, but he'll be back for this weekend. Carl Hagelin is ready to break out, playing well, playing hard. The puck's not going in for him right now, and that pretty much goes down the list. I think we've got a lot of guys that are playing well, just haven't got the results yet.
You mentioned the young players and specifically Merrill. Talk about him and the other freshmen, kind of weaving them into the lineup. Sometimes it takes half a season to really know what you got.
Well, it really does. Johnny Merrill's in a good role playing with our most experienced defenseman, Chad Langless, and Johnny's on that power play unit. And they were definitely a factor in the weekend. Johnny scored a goal, set up a couple. So he's got a smart stick. He's really I'd say ahead of himself a little bit as a freshman, but he had a good weekend. And then the others, they all had a shot. They all showed glimpses of being good Division I players, and they also showed some nerves, from their first game. So I like those kids, but we don't need them to really carry the team at this point.
Let's talk about your goaltenders, Sean Hunwick and Brian Hogan. Are you any closer to learning what you have there, or what direction you might go?
Well, I pretty much feel like I did a week ago or a month ago, Doug, that we have 2 starting goalies, and Hunwick goes in there and has a good game and gives up 1 goal, and then Hogan goes in there and has a strong game as well. So, Hogan probably had more work than Hunwick because of all the penalties in the third period when the game was on the line. But regardless, our teams played well in front of both of them.
Let's talk about New Hampshire this weekend and the challenge that they present.
Well, New Hampshire's a top 10 team in the country. They play an Olympic-sized rink, so that'll be interesting for us. It'll be the first big rink that we play on this year. They just went down and split with Miami, so they beat Miami 6-3 on the road. So we know they're a good team. We know they've got a top line, and we know they can't wait. They've got a great home record historically. So this will be a good challenge for Michigan.
Overall, you blow the 4-0 lead in the tie against Mercyhurst, then to get these 2 wins. Where do you feel like this team is in the early portion of this season?
Well, I think we're better than we were last year. I think we've got more offensive confidence, and I think we've got more special teams confidence, and we've got more goalkeeping confidence, if you would, between the 2 of them. So I like our depth, I like our confidence level, I like where our team is. Now they're learning how they have to keep going when they take the lead and not let another team back in the game, and that's a learning process. But I like the leadership, I like the seniors, I like our team.
Coach, best of luck.
Good, thanks Doug.